Let's go.
Giving every piece of my soul. You say you don't know. Don't you know? Giving every piece of my soul. You say you don't know. Don't you know? Giving every piece of my soul. You say you don't know. Don't you know? Giving every piece of my soul. You say you don't know. Don't you know?
Okay, three, two, one. What's going on, Sam?
Hello, how are you doing?
I'm very good. How are you, brother?
I'm good, I'm good.
Good, good, good. I just want to say thank you for coming on the podcast. I've seen your work and I think it's outstanding. I've actually seen you go viral a few times on Instagram, and I was just blown away really by how much depth you get in your work. What kind of, well, actually, before we start getting onto the juicy questions, just tell me how you got into the industry, bro.
I think myself, I've always been wanting to become a tattoo artist since a very
Yeah.
young age, I think.
Mm.
One thing that really inspired me was when they were doing those reality shows like Miami Ink.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that was like a really big, because at that time, I think there was this they were showing like what can be done with tattooing.
Yeah.
I remember they were doing like portraits, not
Mm.
just the tattoos we used to know about like before.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That really inspired me. Then I don't think I really focused on it growing up,
Yeah.
but um, um, I think I've always been inspired like from this type of art, like graffiti. I've
Yeah.
always liked something more, cool rather than. But then I think when I was 15, I think my brother really encouraged me to get on the to this career, but
Yeah.
I had some problems with my parents, not
Yeah.
wanting me to become. But then, when I was 18, I approached the local tattoo artist
Mm.
from Malta, and at that time we already started. The tattoo industry was like not really like an apprentice, like an apprenticeship. We did like a course.
Yeah.
It's like a 1 month and a half course. But then I kept like working with the guy, and yeah. But I think I've always wanted to become a tattoo
Tattoo
artist since I
artist.
was young.
Yeah. So you said you went through an apprenticeship.
Yes, but I mean, apprenticeships normally take much longer than like a month and a half. I
Yeah.
did like it was actually like a course
Yeah, yeah,
rather
yeah.
than
Yeah. Okay. So how many years ago was that? How many years have you been tattooing for?
since I did the course or apprenticeship, whatever.
Yeah.
It was like I think 7.5 years ago, 8 years ago,
Okay.
something
So
like that.
yeah. So you've been
But
tattooing pretty much the same, a very similar time to me.
but
Well, yeah, mine's 9 years now.
mhm. But I think professionally, like, because then I used to work another job and I was tattooing on Sundays,
Yeah.
so like
Yeah.
that. But I think it's been 5 years on a full-time basis now.
Yeah. Wow. That's amazing. Congratulations, man. Your work's amazing. So when you first came into the industry, did you find that your style changed much from when you first came in? Were you like tattooing like smaller pieces, very simple pieces, just to try and get the depth of the needle and shading techniques down
Yeah,
before
yes,
moving on
in
to
first, yes.
yeah,
I think even like in the tattooing course, that's the first thing you learn, the
yeah,
fundamentals.
yeah,
But I've always wanted to do black and gray realism
yeah,
specifically.
yeah? Is that because you look up to a artist at all that you really wanted to aspire to be like? Because when I first started tattooing, do you know an artist called Eric Messinizen?
No.
Eric Messinizen is like my favorite tattooist. I
Oh,
think
all
he's
right. Okay,
amazing.
I know.
Yeah.
because I pronounce it different. That's why.
Ah, okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know.
Yeah, he's
Uh,
for me. He's the best of all time doing grey wash, grey shading. I think he's
yeah.
unbelievable. Um, but yeah, is there like a? Is it because there was someone that you?
Yeah. I think yes. It is also because the guy who I went to take the course with
Mm,
was doing black and gray realism, and he was like doing a lot of portraits that time, and it was really like still new to Malta. So he was like one of the good artists
yeah,
we had here.
yeah.
But also black and gray, I you know it's one of my it's my favorite style because it's really like
It's
it's
timeless.
it's timeless. Yeah,
Yeah,
it can never. Also about the it's because of the skin types we have in Malta. Like we have a lot of sun.
yeah,
So black and gray, it's the best choice I think for here.
yeah, for sure. So whereabouts in Malta are you based? Because I've been to Malta
Oh,
before. I've been to St
yeah,
Julian's, I think.
yeah. That's like the
The
tourist
party,
place.
yeah, the
Yeah.
party place.
No, I'm actually in the south of Malta, but if you've been here, like Malta is like
Fair.
one big city.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like the place is called Zaytun.
Okay,
It's
cool.
like an old town.
Okay, cool.
Even like the shop, if you can see, it's like I think from like the 1850s,
Yeah.
from what I heard. Yeah.
Wow, amazing. So being from a small country, do you do you find it hard to get clientele?
No, actually, it's actually
It's pretty good.
quite good. Yeah, yeah.
Because I
And
thought,
because
like, the way that my mind's working is I'm from a small town myself in Lincolnshire called Holbeach, and I struggled. Like I got clientele when I first started tattooing, but it was because I was doing stuff for very cheap. So all the stuff that I do now, I find it really hard when I go back there to do like maybe a guest spot or something. I find it really hard to find clientele that want that kind of style because it's so like there's not a lot of people there. So it's very like now I'm in London. There's so many people that want that kind of stuff.
no, it's not that hard. Actually, I think I find it easier because like everyone knows everyone, so
Mm,
you can really get like for example, one thing I see is that when I tattoo a guy and or someone,
yeah,
normally his whole friends will be interested in to get tattooed by me, like because it's really small, so everyone talks with each other.
yeah.
It's easy, like to get popular in a way, if I can say it that way, with
Hmm.
with people.
Yeah, yeah. Um, So, what did you first start tattooing? Was it like smaller stuff, or did you just go
Yeah,
bang
at the
straight into
beginning,
black and grey?
I try to,
Yeah, you try
but
to.
I think you need to start with the doing like the small stuff.
Yeah.
Normally, I would be doing like the stuff the guy who taught me didn't
Mm.
want to do, like,
Yeah.
so we don't. Yeah, but like I think like everyone, I started doing like the names,
Yeah. Yeah.
maybe
Yeah.
some symbols and stuff like that.
Yeah. 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 For sure. So I've seen you go viral a few times, like I explained earlier, with your tattoos being shared on some very big tattoo pages. How was that for you?
I think it was amazing because like being shared next to other big artists,
Mm.
and the best in the world, it's quite good, like seeing that next to my work there was like people who are tattooing like for 15 years in this industry,
Yeah.
and I'm making it to be next to their work.
Yeah.
It's good also because like when people get to know you, they get to know your style and what
Mm.
you love to do.
Yeah.
So when you're at guest spots, conventions, people know what to expect from you and what to ask.
Yeah. Yeah.
from you.
Yeah. Do you find being shared on big tattoo pages beneficial for your following and for new clientele as well?
Um, for local clients, I think not that much.
Mm,
But yes, for when like doing guest spots, it will. Yes, it is beneficial,
yeah.
because like you can reach more like countries, and you can get booked in easier when doing guest spots.
Yeah. Have you tattooed color before, bro?
I tried.
It's hard, isn't
I
it?
tried, but
It's so hard.
I tried doing some basic stuff like traditional, but
Yeah.
still, I mean, I can work with red or maybe blue,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
but when it comes to the lighter like yellows and colors like that, I find it very difficult.
Yeah, yeah. So we've got a picture of the laced lady's face, which
Okay, yeah.
I've seen many times been shared around Instagram and places like that. What kind? I love how dark your blacks are and how light your light tones are. There's so much contrast within the piece, which I think is amazing for longevity of the tattoo, and two, it's just going to heal amazingly. What inks do you use?
For that one, I was still using dynamic ink.
Yeah.
But what I did, that was actually I was experimenting a bit with that tattoo, to be honest.
Okay.
I was using like a normal gray wash, which I mix myself with
Okay.
dynamic at
That
that
was one of the
time.
questions. Yeah.
Um, but for that tattoo, I used opaques
Oh,
as
okay.
well. But I was going in like from the gray wash into the opaques,
Right.
so like it creates like a smoother effect and like a more solid effect.
Yeah, like more saturated.
But for example, for the textures, I was avoiding a bit the opaques to dip in the opaques. I
Yeah.
was doing it more for like the shadows.
Hmm. Okay. So go on. Sorry.
Sorry, but now I'm using a set from Raw Pigments,
Raw
which I
pigments.
found I found really good because it's a gray wash set,
Hmm.
but in each wash there is opaque mixed into it.
Oh
So
wow.
it's like, yeah.
Wow.
So
I've never heard of that.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Wow. So
So it's
that's
really,
so what you did with the woman's face with the lace,
yeah.
you mixed opaque. So you tattooed it black and grey wash first, and then you went in with the opaques after. Is that right? Or did you do it as you were
No,
going?
actually, I was like dipping from the gray wash into the opaques, like while I'm tattooing. Sometimes I was going over the gray wash parts as
Yeah.
well, but yeah,
Wow, amazing. So what's that ink brand you use now? Raw inks. Raw inks.
raw pigments.
Raw pigments. Okay, I'll have to check them out for sure. Do you find it makes your work a lot smoother when it comes to tattooing like faces and stuff, where you need the smooth
Yes, it
shading?
does. Yes, it does.
It does, yeah.
I also have a problem with gray washes since I use some light tones to create that contrast from the black.
Hmm.
The lighter tones with just gray wash, they were like not healing really well.
Right.
Now
Okay.
with having like something mixed into it to make it even thicker, they are holding even better.
Yeah. Wow. Amazing, man. That's so cool. How did you stumble across that? Was it just something you? Um,
No, actually, I was on a guest spot in London, and Hugo Feast. So I was seeing him work,
okay.
and he was using this kind of technique.
Oh wow. So he
Yeah.
uses them inks as well.
Not the same inks.
Okay.
He was using this method of like having like a two opaques next to his gray
Yeah.
wash set.
Yeah. Amazing. What needles do you use, bro?
I use Squadron needles,
Quadrant. Yeah.
um,
What
uh,
sizes do you know?
0.30, and
Yeah.
I normally use 9, obviously soft edge magnums
Hmm.
max.
Yeah.
and 915. And sometimes I use 21 for like the areas for like the
Cheeks,
cheeks.
yeah.
And for the details, I like to use 7 round shader,
7 round
0 point
shader.
there.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. What, so for like
But,
the eyes and the eyelashes and stuff, you use that?
yeah, and lips maybe,
Hmm.
and maybe sometimes I go back with it like to sharpen some areas, but I
Yeah,
don't like to do it much because
yeah, yeah,
and the lips normally as well
yeah, sure.
for the lip or the little details.
Yeah. So how long would a piece take for you to do? Like the woman with the lace, say like the whole inside of the forearm.
All right, yeah. I think that one back here at my studio I actually work a bit slower.
Yeah,
You know, I normally book a day and a half for a piece like that.
yeah,
I
sure.
mean, I can do it in one session,
Yeah,
but I'd like to take some time as well.
of course.
Actually, that guy had a really like a large hand, so it took even more time, you
Yeah,
know.
of course. Yeah.
But normally, I can finish maybe a forearm in one day. It will take me like 10 hours for sure.
Okay. Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean
Depends
it's yeah.
obviously on the details as well.
Yeah, it looks dope, man. So cool. Okay, so tell us what machine you like using. Are you a Bishop fan? Are you an Injector fan? Are you an
I'm
Acus
ink
fan?
machines,
What is it,
ink
sorry?
machines.
Ink machines.
Yeah, I
Okay.
use the Cobra.
The Cobra,
I
yeah.
think it's the latest one they released.
Okay, cool. They're a Swedish company, aren't they, I think?
Yes,
I think they're Swedish.
yes,
How
they're
do you find
Swedish.
using that machine? Like what stroke does it have?
Actually, the Cobra is adjustable. The
Okay.
stroke and you can adjust the give as well.
Yeah.
I use it on 3.7,
3.7. Okay, cool,
but
man.
then the soft you can adjust even the softness and the hardness of it.
Mm,
I keep it on almost like close to the hard
yeah.
setting.
Okay. So do you find when you switch your setting up on your machine? I haven't used the Cobra yet, to be honest. I use the Acus machine. But it sounds very very similar, to be honest. You can adjust the cams in the machine, and you can also adjust the give of the motor, so it makes it more stronger hitting or more softer hitting, depending on what you want to do in your tattoo. But what kind of voltage do you run that at? Do you change volts throughout the tattoo, or?
No, I don't like to change volts. I think I just adapt my hand speed.
Mm,
But sometimes I have to like even like for example if the skin it's not that I have to slow down on it. You know, it's not taking the ink
yeah, the speed
quickly. You know, you have to slow down a bit. But normally I run it between 8.5 or 9
on a
volts.
3.7 stroke. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
that checks out, to be fair, because you don't really get too much redness in your work either, by the looks of things.
No.
So you've probably got a really good machine set up there with voltage and hand speed. I think the when you're trying to battle redness in a tattoo, I feel like, especially on a higher stroke machine, you really have to drop them bolts, otherwise you're just going to obliterate the skin, man. Okay, cool. So do you use white in your work? I can see a bit of white in the eyes and a bit in the lips
Yes,
and
yes,
stuff.
I use, but only like for the necessary parts. I don't like to use whites, for example, like in the cheeks, or
Mm,
I just like to leave the open skin.
yeah, yeah, for sure.
I think it feels even better
Yeah, yeah,
for especially here,
yeah,
especially here
yeah,
with
yeah.
the sun.
Because tanned skin, the white's just going to turn yellow, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's not
yeah.
great. So how do you put your white in? Because I sometimes struggle putting white in. And what white ink do you use as well, actually?
I used to use dynamic as well, but now I switched to the set of raw pigments, so I'm using their white, which is actually really good. I had some good healing results with it.
Mm,
But as I said, it's been like a month using it, so I need to see how it turns out,
Yeah,
like after like a year or something. But it seems really good.
yeah, for sure.
Um, I think now I'm preferring to use a bit thicker whites than dynamic
Hmm.
because I think when you're doing whites and they're a bit watery, they become transparent
Yeah,
on skin. But I like to use them, for example, when I have to like shade a part which is a bit like
y-
hitting the light a lot. I prefer dynamic for that style
yeah,
because it's even easier
yeah,
to put in.
yeah, yeah.
But I use smaller needles to do it,
Oh,
like
okay.
maybe a 3 round shader or a 5
Yeah,
to do the lips, for example, but
yeah.
not every time.
Okay. So, do you ever use liners in your work?
No, never.
Never use liners. So it's only round shaders and mags.
Round shaders, yes, yes.
Okay. What's your what's your stencil process? Do you like to do them by hand, Procreate, digital stencil, or like by an app or something?
Um, I used to do them by hand a lot,
Hmm.
but it for me it takes a lot of time to do them with the iPad or with the Procreate. But now I'm starting to do it with Photoshop.
Yeah. Photoshop.
Yeah, it's yeah. I
How
use
do you
like
do that?
the filter gallery.
Okay.
Yeah,
I've never used
I
that.
use I don't use there is like the application as well you
Mm,
can download, but I don't like it that much. I prefer like using Photoshop
yeah.
because I can create layers in my stencil, like different like textures in it.
Yeah. Maybe you should drop like
Yeah,
a stencil on Instagram one time so I can have a peep.
yeah, no problem.
Yeah,
Okay.
do that, man. Stick it in like a
Yeah,
story or something.
yeah. I can send it to you, no problem.
Yeah, man, nice one. So being in the tattoo industry for 8 7 8 years, what do you think of the tattoo industry as a whole? I've got my views on it. I think it can be. I'll tell you what I think of it so far. I think it can be very. When you first start out, it's a very hostile environment. I think unless you keep yourself to yourself and you don't go like too egotistical, whatever, which I think is a bad idea anyway for any new artist. But I think it's very clicky. I think if you keep your head down and you do your work and you strive to be better and your tattoos start to get noticed, I think I think you're fine. But I have found, especially at conventions, people hang around with people like the same people that, you know what I mean. Like it's very
Yeah,
clicky. What do you
yes.
find about the industry?
I think nowadays, yeah, it is not. It's an amazing industry to be in
A hundred
because
percent, yeah.
nowadays with the social media, you can share your ideas,
Mm,
you can get help from others. You know, there's no like this. Everyone is willing like to share their knowledge and
yeah,
stuff. What I think about the industry nowadays, I think nowadays we have to be not just tattoo artists. We have to be like content creators
yeah,
now. We have to look at algorithms,
yeah,
be active on your socials, you know, and sometimes that might be a bit difficult, you know, because like if you're busy, sometimes to do a post like you have to do the hashtags, the right music, the right
yeah,
effect. So
yeah,
but it works
yeah.
because
Do you find other artists are quite supportive?
yeah, either way actually.
Yeah, I do.
Like I said, when I'm in guest spots, I find a lot of help, and
Mm,
that's the main reason I go to guest spots so I can learn different techniques and meet
yeah,
new
amazing,
art.
amazing. Yeah. Do you guest spot quite a lot?
No, I think I've only been going to one place lately, which is in London.
Mm-hmm.
I'm planning to do more guest spots.
Mm,
Um, but I also want to go into more conventions because I've only done one so far.
Okay. Yes.
Guest posts are always nice.
Yeah. Which studio do you guest at in London?
In straight lines.
Straight Lines. Okay. Yeah. That's only
Yeah.
down the road from me, I think. So that's really
Yeah.
cool. Yeah. Is it Bobby?
Yeah. Yeah.
Bobby's the owner. Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah. They have some serious artists in there, man. Like very 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 good. What artists do you look up to?
Thomas Carly Harlier.
Yeah,
I think
he's been on this
one of
podcast.
the.
Oh, you just paused.
Oh,
Hello.
all right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Go on.
Oh,
Sorry. Yeah, you just
all
paused
right.
there.
But I when I first started, I used to look up to Carlos Torres a lot.
Yeah, yeah,
He was one of my first, I think, artists that uh, one of the first artists who really inspired me
yeah,
to do black and white.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
And you said
mhm.
Thomas Carly Harlier as well.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Oh, you keep
yeah.
pausing.
Domantas,
Okay.
Hugo.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Sick, sick. Are you super picky with what you tattoo nowadays? Do you decline a lot of work?
Here I think it's a bit difficult to decline work because like you know everybody, so it's even harder to decline work. But
Yeah,
for example, if they have like an idea that I don't really do that much, I try suggesting some other styles to them.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Um, but then if they are like super convinced about the subject, I have to refuse it because you can't keep doing the same stuff over and over. Like for example, here Greek mythology is really popular. For example,
yeah,
I mean, I've done a lot from that, and you can be really creative with it.
yeah,
So
yeah.
you just have to decline it.
Yeah, of course. Do you take on other types of like styles and stuff, but you just don't post it on Instagram?
No,
You never do that. You
no,
just
just
do what you want to
realism.
do now.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's good. Do you work every day? Do you like how many days a week do you work?
I think it's between 4 days and 5 days, maybe
Okay, cool.
maximum.
Yeah, sick. Yeah, that's cool. Have you tattooed any fake skin before? Because
Yeah,
yeah,
during my course.
yeah. How did
Yeah.
you find tattooing fake skin and then transitioning from that to human skin?
Well, I think human skin is a bit difficult when it comes to redness, bleeding, and the healing process.
Mm,
But I think to saturate the ink and to do the shading, it's even harder on fake skin, in my opinion.
yeah, yeah.
Like the smoothness, and it takes more time
A lot more
than
passes.
human skin, yeah.
Yeah. How many months or years were you tattooing fake skin for? Because when Thomas Carly Harlier came on, he said he was tattooing fake skin for a year before he moved on to human skin.
Um, I was tattooing fake skin before I went to real human skin.
Yeah.
I think for like a month and a half.
Wow. Super
Yeah,
confident. Yeah, that's
yeah.
sick.
I wasn't at that.
No, yeah, I mean Thomas Carly Harlier, yeah, he was doing it for a year before, which I think like I rate to be fair because it's like getting confidence holding the machine. I think one of the
Yeah,
first things, isn't it, like coming into the industry is like having picking up your machine because it's so heavy, it vibrates a bit. It's much different to a pencil. So from coming from like a pencil or an artist background where you're holding pencils or paintbrushes, you really have to get used to picking up your machine and have it be second nature in your hand. So I think tattooing fake skin for a long period of time before touching any human skin is probably a benefit.
yes, it is.
Mm.
It's better to do it that way, I think, than the way I did it.
Yeah,
Like after a month. Yeah, but
I did the
I
same thing.
was jumping back onto fake skin when I wasn't tattooing at first. So yeah, but it was that
Yeah.
happened that way.
Yeah. So I know you touched on doing some conventions earlier. Do you have any booked in so far? Is there any conventions that you want to do in the
Yeah, I will
future?
be. Yeah, I will be taking part in the Milano Tattoo Convention.
Amazing.
That's the one I have
When is that? When
planned
is
at
that?
the. It's 26 from 26th January, if I'm not mistaken.
I might actually
So yeah,
fly out to see that one, to be honest. I think Acres are going to be there, so I might see you there, bro. Might see you there.
good.
Do you find it quite hard? Like when I tattoo in conventions, I find it quite like unless I've got music on in my ears, I find it quite distracting working in front of so many people and like the bands playing and stuff on the main stages and stuff. Do you find it hard working in a busy environment with other people watching you?
I've done one convention so far, but no, it actually was, yes, the first day was a bit like I was a bit nervous,
Mm,
like setting up all of those good artists around. But no, I think on the second day I started to get used to it
yeah.
much more than. But as I said, I really enjoyed it, so yeah,
Yeah,
I want to
amazing, man.
do more of them.
Yeah, sick. Would you ever do one in London?
Yes, I think there's one in September.
Yeah, there is
Yes,
next
I
year.
was planning to do that. Yes, I was planning to come for a guest spot and going straight to the guest spot after out to the convention
Yeah, yeah.
after.
Yeah, amazing. Do you get nervous before tattooing anymore? Or is it just like straight in?
Not as much as I used
Mm.
to do before. But when I'm trying something new, yes, for example, trying new inks, I'm always a bit nervous. But it's actually good, because you're even more focused when you're a bit nervous.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I still do though, yeah.
Yeah. So let's get down to your techniques. So there's so many things I want to ask you about your techniques. I'd love to actually watch you tattoo in person because to get the smooth like transitions from like darks to lights within a face and stuff, like maybe on like a large bit of the face, like a forehead or the cheeks or whatever. Can you just like how do you, in your own words, can you kind of explain what you're doing with your needle? Are you like brushing it in like a paintbrush or
Yeah. Mm. Yeah, I'm always like I'm normally using that technique.
yeah the
I'm always like brushing it in
yeah
and out. Um, um, and also even the blacks sometimes I just
brush
build
it in?
them up. I don't really go like in a circular motion. Yeah.
Hmm.
Um, um, I'm always using like I'm always building my grays. I'm never like pushing them in and so if sometimes I also go back on them because you get the redness, you think you
Yeah,
went dark
yeah.
and I think that way it's even better on the healing
Hmm.
rather than just pushing really hard.
Yeah, yeah. So like just building it up very slowly, like
Yeah,
layer after layer,
I like
building
to
that
build my
saturation.
grays, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's even better to transition into one tone from another.
Yeah. So, do you normally? So, when you're tattooing, I'm just going to talk about the lady with the lace again because it's on
Okay.
screen. Do you tattoo with like? Where do you start on that piece? Do you like? You'll start from the bottom to the top, I presume. But do you start doing the blacks first? Do you go in with like the mids first, or do you just kind of go up like a printer?
No, I always start from the bottom, obviously, but
Yeah.
I start always with the blacks.
Hmm.
I start putting in the blacks because it's like building like the outline of it.
Yeah.
And but I never do all the blacks of the piece.
Yeah.
I just do like
A
sections.
section. Yeah.
So I finish this section, if like I have like a small window, I
Hmm.
finish that window, I go and but sometimes I do leave like the lighter shades for
Yeah.
last.
Yeah. Okay.
So
So
I see what the skin
yes,
is, how the contrast is.
yeah. So you go in with the darks first, and then say if there's like a mid tone or like a medium dark kind of tone, you'll do the blacks, and then say if there's like a section, because there's on the piece there's like a church window at the bottom, and then there's like a section, and then you've got the dark bit just under her chin, and then that bit goes through, which is a tiny bit lighter.
Right.
So you do the dark, and then you'd go in with like a mid
Yes.
tone or something, just so you brush into it, so it's still sharp.
Yes.
How do you create such clarity within your work? Do you like how do you do the sharp lines? Do you just kind of like bounce your mag along it, or do you actually line it with a mag?
I don't like line really doing like a solid line with a mag, because sometimes you can like do a lot of trauma to the skin.
Yeah.
And what I do is like, if there's something is blending but it's sharp,
Mm.
I go really fast on it. I don't like stop and brush. I go really fast and build it up slowly.
Yeah.
But what I found really good is like, when I'm lining something, I don't hold the mag really straight onto the line.
Yeah.
I just twist it a bit,
Tiny bit.
so it creates creates a smaller meg,
Yeah.
kind of.
Okay. Yeah. I see what you're saying. Yeah, that's super interesting. Do you have would you say you have a fast hand speed or a slow hand speed?
I think it's moderate.
Yeah, so
I
like
think it's,
in between.
yeah. When
Yeah.
I'm tattooing, I feel like I'm slow actually, like with the tattoo process,
Yeah.
but I don't have like a slow hand
Mm. Yeah.
to like.
Yeah, because I know Thomas Carlo Harlier, he has a very slow, he does this like
Yeah.
just packs in that color, you know, like each pass. And then I've seen other artists that will just go like that. But I feel like
I'm somewhere in between.
you what, sorry?
I'm somewhere in between. Sorry.
Yeah, I am as well, to be fair. I feel like I used to have a really fast hand speed, and I wondered why I wasn't getting smooth shading. And it's because when it depends on how fast your machine's running, it's like you need to slow your hand speed down accordingly to how fast your machine runs, so you don't get the mag lines, you know? You get nice, soft,
Yes.
like a row of dots. That's how you do it.
But I don't really worry about having like the marks, the needle marks on my work. I mean, I think if you look at my work closely, you can still see them.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's going to be super hard to
Don't
get like every
really, yeah.
mag line out.
I think I'm more focused on having the right tone on it,
Mm.
because sometimes you try to smooth it out and it just gets darker.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So when I'm tattooing, say a piece, or say I'm tattooing like a lady's face, for instance, the way I kind of work is I'll look at my reference picture, and I'll try and determine which shade that part of the reference picture is in junction to my ink cups, and I'll go straight for that tone that I think it is, or maybe one lighter in case it isn't. So then you can always add a darker tone over it, because you can always take away. Is that how you work, or do you just go in with the light tones first and then go in with the tone you think it is?
No, I've always tried to guess the tone. I mean, you can't always get right tone,
Yeah, of
but
course.
going in like soft the first time, like you don't really saturate it, it will give
Mm.
you a chance to go with another pass, maybe with a darker tone.
Yeah.
And sometimes if I'm not sure, I leave it to settle a bit down, because sometimes you think you went dark, but then when you do the other parts, you see like it's settling down the skin.
Yeah. How do you combat redness if you've got like a client with really bad skin?
I think sometimes I use foam, but I think the best way, I think sometimes I just wrap it up
Hmm.
and we'll take like a 10 minutes break. But it depends. Sometimes, for example, the inner arm, if there's redness, it's going it's not going away, I think.
Yeah, of
It
course.
depends where as well, but I don't really have problems with redness
Hmm.
with the technique I'm using now.
Yeah, yeah, that's good. What do you find the hardest part of the human body to tattoo is?
Uh, I think the neck,
Hmm.
the
It's
neck
really hard, isn't
is,
it?
and the lower back is very like difficult for me to like even to get into tattoo.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
But the neck is like
yeah, yeah,
one of the worst, I think.
yeah, man. Okay, so how do you heal your tattoos? What do you tell your clients to do when they come to healing them?
I normally just wrap it up for like 2 hours
Hmm.
and tell them to wash it really well and remove that like excess ink
Yeah.
from it. I normally leave it like 2 or 3 days to dry out a bit. So
Okay.
when they put like aftercare on it, it's not really sore.
Hmm.
Um, I just tell them to do like a thin layer of cream moisturizer,
Hmm.
and I just give them this tip that if it's not dry, just leave it.
Yeah.
If it doesn't need any moisturizer, don't do it.
Yeah.
So, but obviously, like on the fifth or fourth day, it's normally really, really dry. So
Yeah.
that is the time when I tell them, listen, do like 3 times, 2 times a day for sure,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
always like a 10 layer.
Yeah. Yeah. That's exactly the same as me, to be fair. I think it just reduces the risk of infection when you just like after you've washed it for the first time, you leave it to dry out, because bacteria can't grow in a dry environment
And
if the
then,
artist has done a good job. In a constantly moist environment, say if you're creaming it too much or whatever, it just doesn't allow the skin to breathe. And I think it's a very important part of tattooing is telling the client exactly what to do, because that can kind of make or break a tattoo when it comes to healing it, especially with like the blacks as well, where you've traumatized the skin so much. So yeah, so let's get on to some photography. I haven't really spoken about how artists take pictures, and I really like the way you present yourself on social media. I think it's really, like, all your pictures are really super. You've got the blurry background and it's very sharp, and it's a tiny bit desaturated. How do you take your pictures of your work? Do you use a light, for instance, and maybe a CP filter over the top of it?
yes, I use a CPL filter, it's
Yeah, that's
called, I
it.
think.
Yeah.
And I have a light attached to my camera,
Hmm.
which also has like because if you don't have like the light, which is with the filter on it, and I use the Sony camera.
Oh,
Yes,
okay.
the
What is
SM,
it? The A7R3? No, the A7 III.
the A7 III.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm shooting on here. So that's good. That's cool. So how do you kind of like process your pictures? Do you just like desaturate in Instagram? Do you go into a light room or something? Do you?
I use Lightroom, yes, yes. I
Yeah,
have like a preset, and I mean it's always the same lighting. So I have like a preset which I actually sometimes have to reduce the contrast on
yeah,
them because like the CPL filter increases the contrast and it looks sometimes it doesn't look natural.
yeah, yeah.
And it also loses a bit of the detail
Yeah, of
sometimes.
course. Yeah. Do you have to, when you're using this light and this CPL filter, do you have to have a darker background for that to pop out even more?
Sometimes yes, but I don't like it anymore having like a really dark
Dark, but
background, like a
yeah,
black background. It's doesn't look I don't like it that much. I prefer like a maybe like a unexposed background kind of.
yeah, yeah. Cool. All right, mate. So this is the final question. That's flown by, actually.
Yeah.
Can you give some advice on how to get started with tattooing? I know a lot of beginners will look up to your work. So do you have any advice for other artists looking to come into the industry?
I think is when you're starting in this industry, you have to try several styles
Hmm.
because you can't like know if you have like a style in mind, it's good. Um, uh, and also I think is try to make connections with other artists
Hmm.
similar to your style, so you can share and ask questions because nowadays everyone like is willing to share stuff and also keep learning.
Hmm.
There's like online seminars you can take
Yeah.
which are really good actually, and keep trying new stuff, never be afraid to try new stuff, always obviously be cautious of what you're doing,
Mm.
like
Yeah, of course. Yeah, amazing, man. Do you have you ever taken any online seminars?
I took Thomas Carly Harlier's seminar, but I think it was like still in part two that time. I think I took part two and part one seminar.
Oh, amazing. What and that really
Really?
helped you?
Yeah, it did. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, amazing. Awesome, man. Well, thank you very much for coming on, mate. It's
You,
absolutely flown by this episode. I can't think of any more questions that I want to ask, but I'm sure the people watching this on YouTube will definitely be asking some questions in the comment section. So if you're up for a part two sometime, maybe in the future, we can
yeah,
answer
sure.
them questions. But thank you very much for spending your time with me tonight. And
Thank you for having me.
yeah, I hope you have a good Christmas.
Thank you. Same to you.
No worries, man.